This episode is brought to you by Muntins Malts, a company that is passionate about providing premium malts to brewers worldwide. For over a century, Muntins has been a leading supplier of brewing and distilling malts, offering the finest British malted barley on the market. You can experience the difference Muntins offers by joining a recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club, because every kit that ships out now includes premium Muntins malt. You know, we've known the Muntins crew for a long time, and I can tell you, friend, you're going to love brewing with their grains. Ask your local supply shop to carry Muntins malts, or homebrewers can join our Trub Club at homebrewhappyhour.com/club, be a part of the community, and come brew with us. Thank you, Muntins, for supporting our efforts and homebrewers worldwide. Today's show is brought to you by hopsdirect.com. Grown in the esteemed Yakima Valley on the Pewterball family farm, hopsdirect.com offers the widest variety of hops available online at incredibly competitive pricing. It's simple. They grow hops, they sell hops, and they ship hops straight from their family-owned farm to your doorstep. Producing the highest quality hops is hopsdirect.com's passion, and they're proud to be an independent grower in the craft beer industry. Go to hopsdirect.com right now and get what you need to make your brew day better. That's hopsdirect.com. Today's show is brought to you by Imperial Yeast. You hear us gushing over Imperial Yeast all the time, and that's because their yeast performs for us in every batch that we brew. Imperial Yeast is adored by commercial breweries and home brewers alike. Their pitch-right pouches are jam-packed with over 200 billion fresh yeast cells, guaranteed to deliver flawless, fast fermentations every time. Imperial Yeast strains are grown by a team of pro brewers and home brewers who live to help other brewers learn more and ferment better. Join any recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club and get a free upgrade to premium Imperial Yeast with every recipe kit that ships out to you. Learn more at homebrewhappyhour.com/club and come brew with us.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Lower efficiency with floor malted barley. Should I fear the foam of StarSan? No activity in my airlock. And choosing hops for a Kolsch. This is Homebrew Happy Hour, episode 384. Well, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. And if you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you could go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or even better, get that phone, touch tone dial 325-305-6107. And if you leave a voicemail, question preferred, or feedback, but preferably a question, and we use it on a future episode, you do get yourself a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com. I'm one of your hosts, Joshua Steuben, joined as always by the Director of Operations at cmbecker.com right there, Mr. James Carlson, as well as the President and Chief Keg Washer and off-center of his camera, but still looking fly with the beautiful head of hair. There he is, Mr. Todd Burns. Gentlemen, hello.
Hi, how are you?
So good. Man, we got, I thought it was your input thing. I think it's your voice, Todd. And I mean this in the greatest way, but every time we do the Germany meeting, every time we do the Basilisk, if you're quiet for like even a minute, and then the second you come back, it almost peeps in my ears. And it could just be on my end. I don't know if James is experiencing that too. But frequently, your first words after like a minute of silence are like, hello there. It's very, anyway.
Like this.
See, no, even yours wasn't bad. That's what's wild. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if my board is trolling me, if Todd's trolling me. Like, do you have your right hand?
No idea why.
Okay. Well, you sound fine now. Anyway, I digress. Welcome to the show, my friends. If you're new here and you're watching at youtube.com/homebrewhappyhour, this is the part where I'm told I'm supposed to say, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notifications so that you are always alerted when new episodes and new content come out on this channel. It's not just these long form podcasts. We do a lot of other content. It's good stuff. I was also our buddy Rick from New England, who left a question the other day, asked me if we would take video questions. And I thought that is phenomenal. That absolutely. Oh. How cool would that be, right? If we were, oh, yeah. And then that would also give audio only listeners, which still account for the vast majority. We entertain dozens a week, and tens of y'all only do audio. And so it would give those tens of people a real good reason to actually go to the YouTube channel to watch. So absolutely, you can email your video submissions to joshua@homebrewhappyhour.com, or send the download link. Like if you use Google Photos or Apple iCloud or whatever, and you store it there, you can text it to that same hotline, 325-305-6107. And I just love the idea of potentially having video questions on the future, or even video feedback, because how cool would that be if they're like, hey, I told you about how I transfer. Let me show you. That would be super cool. I can't believe all of our good ideas come from everybody but me. And I'm happy. I'm a little begrudging, but I'm happy. In the small talk, before I get into the Chub Club stuff, Todd, let's do a recap. You were just at the NRA show, the National Restaurant Association, that NRA show in Chicago. Give us a recap. We weren't showing. You were walking the floor representing CM Becker. How was Chicago? How was the show?
It was good. Yeah. I mean, it's a great show as far as, there's a lot of food there, a lot of, of course, it's a restaurant show. So there's a lot of food. There's also a lot of beverage. Amazingly, not a lot of beverage on the install end. So it would almost, I almost wonder if it's a show we should do, just because nobody else is really represented there.
Really?
So we had a few vendors there that do primarily draft equipment, but even one of the big ones out of India that we've known for years, they weren't even showing any of their draft stuff. They were showing all kitchen faucets and sinks and things like that. So, and Micromatic was there, and of course Tapright's owned by them now. And so they didn't have a booth this year. They just were kind of in their booth, but they didn't actually have any product. So I don't know. It was interesting. I mean, I really enjoyed going to the show. I ate so well, Josh. You can't imagine how many things I tried, and you could have just eaten your way through the show for several days. You would have loved it, Josh.
It would have been like my dad on Saturdays as a kid taking us to Sam's Club. Like
it's like that, but in a lot of cases bigger servings.
Oh, I'm sure.
They had a Japanese hall area for Japanese places, where you could try all kinds of different Japanese food, and they had lots of Italian, and I mean every kind of food you could possibly imagine. So yeah, it was fun.
That's news to me that you would enjoy the eating part of it. How that just surprises me. Wow. Huh.
Yeah, I mean I'm very particular to the drinking part, so
Well,
there was a lot of, there were alcohol brands, but it was very sporadic. There was one whiskey company nearest. It's out of New Orleans. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's
is that Uncle Nearest?
Uncle Nearest, I think.
Right? Yeah. I think that's.
So they were there. Yeah, and I tried some of their stuff, but it was just interesting to me that they're always in New Orleans, but I think it's actually out of Tennessee. But anyway, it was a good show. I would love to at least explore someday going to it and really concentrating on draft install and draft equipment, and see how much interest we would get, because if somebody was looking for that, they didn't really have anywhere to go.
That is interesting, because you think so. In my anecdotal experience at CBC, a lot of the people coming to Hubertus, who Hubertus Beer specializes specifically in the Midwest draft installs or line cleaning and all that. Check them out, hubertusbeer.com. It was all brew pubs. I mean, 95% of the people coming to them were like, we're a restaurant that wants to brew on premise. Like they're very straightforward that the food was the priority, right? It was the first and foremost. There wasn't a lot of, we're just about to open a brewery and only do beer. A lot of it was mixed. So I'm surprised at the NRA show there was not more representation of draft system installers and that stuff. But
the highlight of the trip again was going to Dovetail Brewery.
Man, you read my mind. I was about to ask you.
I can't express enough how good it is, and just how jealous James was without even knowing he was jealous that I was there.
He had an alt beer.
James, every kind of beer they had was all German or continental Europe beers, and the sticky alt was incredible. And the guy, so I walk in this place, and I'm like, oh, y'all have your Kolsch was really good. I tried the Kolsch. I was like, man, I wish y'all had an alt beer. And the guy's like, this guy like 2 seats down is like, you're like alt beer, and he's from Dusseldorf, Germany. He was from Dusseldorf, born and raised in Dusseldorf. And he said they have a sticky alt, which is only available in Dusseldorf for maybe a month or 2 out of the year, James. I'm not even sure.
You know what would be really cool if you would have said only Dusseldorf alts.
Yeah. So he said, so the guy from that was there was sitting in his bench, and I ordered a sticky alt, and a minute later he comes by and goes, "Don't drink my alt beer. That is for me," And then he was very concerned I was going to order a second one. He was giving me a pretty hard time about it. So he said that he wasn't able to get it anywhere in the United States. So he loved coming to that bar and drinking it there.
So he moved to Chicago, where he could get a good alt. He's not wrong. Right. You know how hard it is to get a good alt in the United States, whether it's imported or domestically brewed. I can't find it. I just can't find it.
Yep, it's hard to do. In fact, I'm going to be in Memphis, Tennessee on the 3rd of June that evening. So if anybody wants to reach out to me or maybe give me some suggestions of where to go, let me know.
Where are you going to be? I'm sorry, you told me before.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, in Memphis. Oh, you'll love Memphis, dude.
I don't know why I thought you were going to North Carolina. That's
I did too.
Well, yeah, but that's on the way. Okay. I'm not going to drive all the way to North Carolina in one day.
I didn't know you were driving this trip.
Yeah, the flights were outrageous. It was going to be $1,100 for Julie and I was like,
$1,100?
Hey, let's just drive.
Oh my god!
So it was like $550 each or something.
Yep.
Wow.
My wife.
I'm going to Boise next week, and my ticket was that much. It was super expensive. Yeah.
You know what? My wife is flying to Portland for a girls' trip this weekend, this Saturday, and I had to use credit card points and rewards and all that. And I was able to get her in first class, but that was still some money out of pocket. But I used all of our points to get it. But flights, the point being flights are ridiculous. She never flies on her own. It's Alaska Airlines. I have no idea how good that first class is going to be anyways. But it was the only direct up there to Portland out of Austin. And all the other ones had so many layovers and whatever on the way. The last thing my wife wants is to either run to a gate because it's a short layover or hang out in an airport for 7 hours. Flying just...
Yeah, but if you're not on the flight with her, it doesn't really inconvenience you that much.
I know that, but when she gets back, it really will.
So the important thing is you would want to keep your phone turned off during that time. But,
absolutely, you're right. If I had put her on like, oh, babe, don't worry, you're just going to be in Phoenix for 4.5 hours. You're going to love it. Not enough time to go anywhere, but just enough time to hate me. Anyways, we're glad you're back. Hate me more. Exactly. I do have a little bit more small talk to get through, and then we'll get to the questions. We have 3 voicemails and 4 total questions. It's a wonderful show. You still have time though, my friends. If you want to brew the delicious Mosaic Smash IPA, you can go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, join a recipe receiving tier, and get this shipped out to you next week. I'll be up there again Monday and Tuesday. Monday, no one's picking up. We're closed. But Tuesday, all the recipe kits will be going out. And thank you to our sponsors, of course, Muntins Malt, hopsdirect.com, and Imperial Yeast for providing the premium ingredients that go into each and every recipe kit. Again, if you are interested, go ahead.
When do we get the yeast?
Today or tomorrow.
Okay. You're gonna brew it, right?
I am. My dad. That's so.
I'm thinking about brew. That's one of my favorite beers ever. I'm thinking about brewing it.
Well, that's the segue for. So first off, go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. And if you want to see what the recipe looks like for a brew day, join us tomorrow, May 24th, 2024 at 10 a.m. Central, live at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour for this month's edition of Brew Day Live. Todd, if you would like, you could join us.
How are you going to brew day live if you don't have the yeast?
No, I have the yeast here already. When I came up there, no, the yeast was originally for you. You originally decided you weren't brewing, so then I only did. Well, pardon me. When I put in the order for yeast for last month.
Oh, you got some for the last month.
That's correct.
Yeast.
Absolutely.
I understand now, but you'll have enough yeast for me if I get some tomorrow.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. No, I incorporated enough.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's one pouch still upstairs, so you'll only need to take 2 out of what arrives tomorrow, because you only use 3, right?
I use 3 or 4.
You use 4 pouches? Yeah. Oh.
Well, I brew 18 gallons usually.
You keep going up. It started at 16.9 to 17.2 to 17.
No, it's either 17.5 or 18 is what I'm brewing.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so Brew Day Live, again, it's tomorrow. My pop and I for sure brewing that delicious Mosaic Smash IPA live at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour. And if you'd like to brew with us, you can always go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. Join a recipe receiving tier. You'll see a post about it. You'll go in and tell me how you want your grains, and it goes out the last week of every month. I am excited about this kit, and like Todd said, he's excited because it's we haven't brewed this in a very long time. This specific, I love
this beer.
It's Lone Pint makes
love it.
Somebody messaged me and they said, for shame, Todd should know it's Lone Pint. You kept saying Magnolia. It's Lone Pint. Is who
well, it's in Magnolia, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be like calling real ale. There, Blanco Brewery. That's like that, Blanco Brewery. But anyway, all that stuff, again, you can find all the information. We greatly appreciate all the support at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. Now, we don't have listener feedback, but we do have 4 questions for the show. And our first one is a voicemail question. It's our buddy Jared from New Jersey.
Hello, Josh, James, Todd. This is Jared from New Jersey. First off, thank you for your show. It's always both informative and entertaining, and I always look forward to the new episode drop each week. My question this week is in regards to floor malted barley. A few batches ago, I stopped getting my base malts from one of the large international maltsters, and I switched to a local craft maltster who grows and floor malts their own barley on what I'm assuming is a very small scale. I've enjoyed the characterful flavor of the base malt, but I'm wondering about the mash efficiency I'm getting from the grain. That's because around the time I switched malts, I noticed my efficiency significantly decreased. However, at the same time, I had also switched from propane system to an electric all-in-one. So I can't say whether the decreased efficiency was due to the change in maltster or in equipment. So my question to you is, do you think small-scale floor malted barley would have lower mash efficiency than large-scale malting operation using more, quote, modern methods? And if so, would you recommend utilizing a step mash on the floor malted barley to increase my efficiency? So far, I've used a single infusion mash. Anyway, as always, thank you for the show, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.
Great question from Jared. I think he almost kind of answered his own question at the end, but let's start from the top. James, floor malted barley, what is it?
Well, I'm not really sure exactly the specifics on it, but basically I would categorize it as an unmodified malt. So in unmodified malts, you have to really step mash it to get it ready for starch conversion. That's you've got a dough in, you've got an acid rest, protein rest, and then you have your beta or alpha rest, and then your mash out. So I think if you just start off, I pulled this up on BYO. and they have an article called The Science of Step Mashing, and they go deep into why that's important. And it also gives you tables that you can look at, that'll give you an idea of what you have to do in the step mash and what those temperatures are and how long. So I used to do that when I was trying to recreate the alt beer from Germany, and I would do a dough in, and then I would do an acid rest, protein rest, and then I would go ahead and do the starch conversion. But it didn't make it much of a difference because I was using modified malt. Another thing you can do is a decoction mash too, and that seems to help. But there's lots of good information on byo.com, and it's under the science of step mashing. So just read that article. It can explain it a lot better than I can. Not to try to ditch the question. I just don't want to give out the wrong information.
No. I appreciate that. And actually, I would say that it was you. So when we did a video years ago and you showing a decoction, I think you even prefaced that video. Hey guys, this is like a mini kind of decoction that I'm just doing for flavor because I'm using a modified malt. And so this is just to caramelize it a little, roast it and give flavor. If I was doing a true one, that'd be different and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, your whole main point was I'm using modified malt, single infusions, all you really have to do, which is a perk of modern day malts, right? I mean, in regards to the average home brewer, that seems like a perk, less work, all that. Todd, the second half of his question, I would think an all-in-one would be more consistent and therefore perhaps increase one's efficiency. Do you think his equipment could also play a factor in a decrease going from propane to electric all-in-one?
Not really. I think, it depends totally how you had the propane system set up. But I mean, if you had a propane versus an all-in-one, I don't think your efficiency would typically go down. Did he say which all-in-one he's using?
I don't see it in the transcription, but again,
okay. I mean, the all-in-ones we've used in the past have been very efficient, right? What have you seen on them, James?
Mine's 80.
Yeah, we were using the Grainfather, and I think we used the what did we brew in Dusseldorf? Was it the Anvil Foundry?
I thought it was a Brewzilla.
I don't even remember. Yeah, we left it there, didn't we?
Yeah. We actually packed. I think we shipped the all-in-one, and then we brought the ingredients. And
it was the Foundry.
Customs. I was shocked.
It was the Foundry, though. It was. That's right. Because
and it worked really well too. Both of them did. And I would say if you want to do all the steps for unmodified malt, an all-in-one's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
It controls the temperature. We had real good luck with the Grainfather.
And I'll even add.
No, you're right. That would be a perfect. I mean, if he could continue to use that unmodified malt and probably be a lot better using it with that than propane. Although with propane, I guess you could do the when you've brewed alt beer before, you've gone in and actually done a decoction, right?
Yeah, he said that.
Yeah, that one time Stefan was there. I did a small kind of short decoction with 3 pounds of malt. So,
I'll even add on a G40, which I think all the Grainfathers now with the new connects on them, you can put in what kind of malt you're using and it'll adjust for that. But even more so, you could put in the recipe you're doing and it will. My dad and I frequently, by recommendation, it'll go, oh, you're brewing a Kolsch, would benefit from is a step mash. Oh, okay. And it's not like a multiple step, but a 2-step mash is what's been typical with our styles, where it's like, we're going to start off for an hour at 149 and then we're going to do another 10, 15 minutes or whatever. Once it gets up to the 152 or whatever. It's a pretty cool thing to have that in your pocket where your system acknowledges or makes the recommendations. Hey, we see you put into our system, you're using Weyermann floor malted Pilsen. And so your recipe would benefit from X, Y, and Z. And that's my,
and if he knows he's doing floor malted grain, I mean, that's what it is. That's what the efficiency problem is. So
I would think so too.
Yeah. It's just getting the starch, the kernel ready. Like a good example on the alt beers, I do a 5-minute around 100-degree dough in, and then I would go into my acid rest for 10 minutes at around 115 degrees. Then I would step it up to the protein rest for 20 minutes at 135. And then I would do my beta for 30 and my alpha for 30. And then I'd sparge for I think I do a 45-minute sparge, low and slow, and it seemed to work all right. But I couldn't tell the difference between doing a single infusion, just a single, just beta is normally what I do. Well, now in alt beers, I split it up, do 45 minutes in beta, and then I do the 15 minutes at about 159 degrees, and then go ahead and do the mash out and sparge.
Man, you answered my question. I was going to ask, did you even notice a difference? But yeah, that it is. I'm still a big proponent of people doing what works for them, but I do like how people can experiment and realize, like, oh wow, I didn't have to do all that work to get still the same good results of the beer. Because I was going to ask you, in your opinion, were your best beers brewed through that method, or do you think your best beers have been? No.
No. Well, in fact, I think one of the best alt beers I brewed was the one that we did the decoction that I left the really dark malt out. The blonde salt. It
was so good.
Blonde salt.
It was so good.
The color profile wasn't there, but it was a really good beer. It had really good flavor. It tasted real similar to Sluizel. Now, I've gotten there closer before. Todd got me a book when I was just about ready to give up that Horst wrote. And it put me back on track, and it helped me out tremendously.
Oh, yeah. And Horst is also, he's coming on, what do we have it on the calendar? July 17th. He's going to be on the show.
Oh, cool.
For that week. I think that's a Wednesday, and then it'll go out that Thursday.
Why do I have showing that him being here on the 4th of June for a podcast?
No, that's Jonathan Marut. I told you that before you left.
Here?
He was there to come. Yeah, he's there to come that Tuesday to the ranch. We're going to film we're going to do the follow-up episode of him winning Kolsch Cup. He's there to get his trophy. I don't even know if he got his CO2 tank from you yet, but we were going to film on pressure transferring and stuff like that. Like, he was going to show like some of the feedback we've been getting from people on the show. We were just going to visualize it as a YouTube short or a short clip, not necessarily a literal YouTube short. But yeah, I had mentioned it to you right before you left for Chicago, and then it got finalized while you were there, and I forgot to send y'all a calendar invite. But that is the plan. No, but that's not Horst.
So it'll just be me and you. Of course, James won't be here, but
yeah, he can be. Yeah, no, he's not getting there till the afternoon.
That's what his trip is.
No,
I'm on vacation that whole first
on
week
Tuesday.
of June.
Oh my! I thought your vacation was just a Thursday through Sunday. Oh, my bad.
No, it's on the calendar.
Todd put it in wrong then. Yeah, did you just update it? You did.
I probably put it.
No. I just saw it on the calendar. I pulled up the calendar.
Oh, okay. No, I saw your. Then that's okay. I had no idea. No, this was planned out before that. My bad. I thought James was only gone.
Because I do have an appointment. We'll talk about it after the show because I have an appointment that day too.
Oh, okay. It'll just be me and Marut. Yeah. See how it all works out? You hate when I do that to you, and then it just organically happens. We do. But that's not Horst. Horst is in July.
So, I mean, my appointment was in there when you made that appointment. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it was. I don't look at your calendar. I do actually look at your calendar. That is a lie. But anyway, wrapping up Jared from New Jersey's question. This is great for feedback. You can leave it if you're watching at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour in the comments below. That helps the algorithm. Or if it's really good feedback, call it in at 325-305-6107 and potentially get yourself a $25 gift card for your efforts. But I don't think it's the system, like you said. And I do think if he's going to insist on using if he likes the body of it, that's good. Once you find a malt you like, it's hard to want to separate from it. And if it is floor malted, then great. You know the steps you have to do and all that. Hopefully the all-in-one you're using does kind of automate it for you. But if not, it's okay because it's just a bunch of clips of buttons and whatever, and helps out great. So yeah, I think that wraps it up. Jared, thank you so much for submitting that question. Moving on to our second question of the show. It is a text message. It's our buddy Michael, and he wrote in, is there ever a situation where rinsing sanitizer out of your lines is the right thing to do? I'm using StarSan, and it is foaming so much more than usual, which makes me think I messed up the ratio. It's solid foam sitting in my two beer lines, and I know, don't fear the foam. That's what he wrote it that way. Y'all can see the text. I'm not adding that voice. He wrote it in the SpongeBob, don't fear the foam. What would you guys do? Michael, great question. I already know what Todd's going to say. He wouldn't use StarSan. He would use SandStep, available at kickinetch.com. But that probably would be actually what you're going to say. But I will throw it to you first, Todd. I know their whole shtick, we've seen it. We've been to so many homebrew cons walking, and most mostly showing as vendors. And, you know, that's been their shtick for a long time. And I'm not even knocking it. I'm not going to hate on them. Yeah, don't fear the foam. It's contact sanitizing, blah, 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 blah. A lot of people, though, the perception of seeing it in their lines as their, or in their keg specifically is where I hear this the most. Do I want to put beer into that keg that's still full of all this foam? If you did mess up the ratio, Todd, would you rinse and then start all over, or would you, how would you handle it if you are confident that you did too much sanitizer into your water?
I would pour it out and mix it correctly. Yeah. I mean, you don't want it to be too strong. It wouldn't, I mean, they say when they say don't fear the foam, they mean don't fear the foam when you mixed it correctly.
well, okay. I've used StarSan. I have not used it in a very long time. I don't know if I would know the difference between, oh no, that's too much foam, or no, that's normal.
Well, I mean, he said he thought maybe he mixed it too strong. So I maybe it's two separate questions. If you think you mixed it too strong, then remix it correctly, because you don't want to use overly strong sanitizer. That's not good, and you could get to the point where it is too powerful, and so I would make sure it's mixed correctly first, and then second, if it is mixed correctly and you're getting a bunch of foam, I mean that's what it does. That's kind of, I mean, one of the reasons they say don't fear the foam is because they know it creates an incredible amount of foam, and people don't like that. So, I mean, that's the reason you can't use it in like a clean in place system or anywhere where the foam would be a negative thing. So I would say, yeah, it's going to foam, and that's part of using that product.
James, do you think I know obviously StarSan has issues when it's mixed with hard water. Is excessive foam one of those issues, or is it more cloudy? I forget what actually is when it's too hard. I mean, one of the reasons that SandStep is what y'all switched to was because of the hard water that we have in Central Texas. Excess foam.
It doesn't. I think what as Rick said, the surfactants break out in hard water. When I was using it, was super cloudy. I was getting infections, 2 batches in a row, if you remember. So I just quit using it, but I was using my well water, and it was horrible water, just very, very hard. And it just wasn't the right kind of sanitizer for the kind of water that I have. I would tell him that if you don't like you switch to something else like a SandStep or iodophor and see what you think about that.
I was just, again, we're on the same page. I'll just say, or like a civilized person like me and my father, use iodophor and stain all of your equipment. The good thing, I kid. I mean, I'm not kidding. It does stain your buckets and stuff, but it makes it easier for me to remember which one's our sanitizing bucket. So there is that pro. I don't know what it is. My dad and I have just had the best luck with iodophor. Our old buddy, Jonathan Etley, I believe was his name. He hasn't been on the show in many years. He's not even with National anymore. But the people who make that iodophor that my pop and I use, it's wonderful. We use it. It's kind of getting up there in price, so I might actually start using SandStep more. The only complaint I've ever heard people with SandStep is the odor sometimes, but the sanitizers have that. I mean, I think maybe 5-star perfumes that StarSan a little. I'm saying that. I'm not making accusations. I'm just saying it's not very pungent, but you also,
if you don't know the answer to something, just make something up, is what I always say.
Well, I have that written down in the notes right here. Yeah, absolutely. It's right here. It says, Josh, make it up when you're rambling. But yeah, my main point though being that iodophor is also always an option, and I've thoroughly enjoyed using that. It's what my father and I use. I'm trying to think though, like for what else would cause it. Oh, probably. So to what I put in the title of the show, Todd, was I did put, should I fear the foam of StarSan? What I originally had written was, is there ever an appropriate time to rinse sanitizer? If you were going to start over, that would technically be the rinse, but when you redo it, you wouldn't be rinsing out the sanitizer, because these are no rinse sanitizers. So to answer kind of the underlying question, is there ever an appropriate time to rinse sanitizer and not re-sanitize?
Is there ever an appropriate time?
Like if you're using a no rinse
I mean,
sanitizer.
if I know you mean a no rinse.
That's what. Sorry, you're right, because there are caustic ones. You're right, where absolutely you have to rinse or you
or
will
bleach.
die.
You know, people used to use bleach.
That's what I used to use for a long time.
Yeah, everybody used that. So
yeah, I would
you got to rinse it.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, non-rinse sanitizer. No, I mean why? I mean, if it's non-rinse, why I don't see why you would ever rinse
Gotcha.
it.
I was just making sure because people would go, well, when he redoes it, you're rinsing the lines clean first of the mess up you did if you feel like you overmixed it, and then you're starting as if you had never sanitized it at all with a normal ratio. You're letting it air dry in there. If you have your lines, my dad and I do the whoop 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 method, and then let it air dry, and then go on and be free, right?
Yep.
Right. Okay. Yep. Just wrapping up that question. Michael, thank you so much for submitting it. A reminder, when you text 325-305-6107 and we use it on a future episode, you get yourself a $15 gift card to KetConnection.com. But even better, hear me out. Call that hotline, leave a question voicemail, and when I play it on a future episode, you get yourself a $25 gift card to KetConnection.com. Like our third question, it's our buddy Zach from Michigan.
Hey guys, Zach from Michigan. I've fermented a 3.5 gallon batch in a 5 gallon or a 6.5 gallon big mouth bubbler. Before Todd asks why I would only do a 3.5 gallon, it was actually a 9 gallon batch. So 5 was in a full carboy and then the 3.5 in the second one. However, during the fermentation, there was absolutely no airlock activity, which I know anybody will say airlock activity shouldn't be a sign of fermentation. I know it was fermenting. I can see the krauts and I can see the activity in the beer, but there was no bubbles coming through the airlock. I just wondered if that's because of so much headspace and there wasn't enough pressure to be able to push through the airlock. I tried squirting sanitizer on every nook and cranny to see if there was a leak or anything. Just wondered if you guys had any thoughts as to why I wouldn't have seen any bubbles. Todd, keep winning those $5 bets. Josh, don't let him win those $5 bets. Come on, man.
Okay, he's on board.
Bye, guys.
Oh no!
Todd actually.
Did I finish putting money in? Did I put all the money in your account?
Yeah. For the Tesla battery,
it is in there. Okay, good.
Yeah. So James, he Venmo'd me the money. I went to the Tesla place recently to pick up the 12-volt lead, whatever, blah 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 battery for his Tesla, and
low voltage battery.
That one too. Thank you. And he Venmo'd me some money for it, and with like $15 or $20 of gas money. And I said, I'm going to leave the gas money you sent me in my Venmo to conveniently pay you back on future bets we're going to make, because it's just way easier if I already have a store credit with the Bank of Todd Burns. So I'm good for 4 wild bets, boss man. I got him.
Yeah, this is awesome.
You're the easiest so $20 awesome. You're gonna make. My family, when my wife goes out of town, I'm bringing the girls up to the ranch. You're gonna win easily that $20 back in those 3 days. Like it's just gonna come flowing into you. But anyway, Zach's question, James. My initial thought when there's no air activity is, there's just a leak. I've never considered the headspace theory he's presenting. What do you think about why he may not have seen bubbles in his air?
That totally makes sense. Yeah, because you get this big volume of space above the wort. And of course, it is giving off CO2. So that makes perfect sense. I would try squeezing on unless it's a glass carboy, then you can't do any of that. But yeah, if you just take a hydrometer reading, if you're where you need to be, don't worry about it.
Yeah, the crowd, like he said, I mean, if the benefit of him doing this in a glass carboy, that he, at least I'm assuming that's the one he's talking about, because he said he can see the krausen, right? What I like about doing fermentation in clear vessels, whether it's my Firmzilla, which is plastic and pressure rated, or it's a glass carboy, which a lot of people who listen to the show are not fans of. But the one thing I like about clear vessels is actually seeing the fermentation and krausen. The bubblers are cool and all for seeing, oh, look, it's going to town. It's motorboat. But Todd one time did a batch in buckets, and I believe one of them never showed activity, and you opened it and boom, it was already signs of high krausen and all that. It was just the lid, right? Yeah. Notoriously, the lids sometimes have just the smallest amount where the air can escape, and it's not going through your bubbler, it's going through that, and yada, yada, yada. I would add a question to that. You don't need to fear infection because of how much CO2 is going out, even if you have a leak. Correct, Todd?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to worry about suck back or like buggies trying to come in because it's getting pushed out from the action.
It's getting pushed out. You should be fine. Yeah. I mean, we worry about it so much now, but for many, many years, most people just fermented in a crock and they just had a towel over it. They didn't even have it sealed. So,
or the Schlussel for open ferment. So they had this big vat, and it's just nothing but krausen, and it's just a layer of CO2 and bubbled CO2 and protein that kind of acts like an airlock. But that's how they do it in Germany, and it had no problem. We went to the Canyon brewery in Brussels, and that's how they do theirs.
Now, the Brussels one,
absolutely,
though, is more farmhouse in regards to wild yeast, or it's still not? Like, because Schlussel is
it is.
It is, right?
They have flutes in the roof.
But Schlussel is more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's more intent, right? Like, I mean, it's not really open fermentation, and they're not fermenting with wild yeast. It is
absolutely. It's a big old rectangle vat that's probably got 4-foot walls, and when you look at it, it looks like a lemon meringue pie. I mean, it's just wide open. And I actually we exchanged emails back and forth, and he explained that was a crucial part of their brewing process is open fermentation. But he said you have to have a very clean room.
How interesting.
And they use filtered air in the room too.
Well, you remember the place we went and where I can't ever remember the name of that brewery we went to where they had the giant open pit fermenter in the seal.
That's Canyon, the one I just mentioned in Brussels.
So the Canyon, they told us during the tour that when they had their roof was like over 100 years old, and when they had to repair the roof, it took several years for the beer to taste the same because they think they pulled some stuff off where some of that yeast was living and falling off into the beer. Yep.
That's wild. Yeah,
maybe that's where they get this. You notice some of those European beers have kind of a dusty aftertaste.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's it,
That's funny. Yeah.
I could hear Todd in my mind when, the guy, Zach gave you the context of, hey, before you asked, it was actually a 9-gallon batch. And then I could see your face doing the math. Actually, it's just an 8.5-gallon batch. Like you were ready to pounce on it. I saw it. Or am I wrong?
I wasn't. I wouldn't. Maybe. Yeah.
No, I saw it on your face. You're like, and also the suggestion would be get yourself a vessel and just do it all. We're buddies with More Beer. We like them. They're good people. I'll put the link below for the Firmzilla I use. I love that thing, man.
Those are awesome.
They're so awesome. Yeah. They're so affordable, and we're paying easy to clean. I'm paying retail too, guys. When I've been accused before when I say something like, "Oh, it's really priced not that bad," and I sometimes will get a text message, "You think that's not bad? You must be getting a special price as a podcaster or as Keckernich." No, I pay retail, guys. I'm telling you, Firmzillas are the best bang for your buck if you want a pressurized vessel for fermenting.
He's lying. We have a wholesale account. He's totally lying to you guys.
Oh my God.
Let him get away with it.
Yeah, we do have a wholesale account. That's true. And we have to pay ship. Do you know how inefficient it would be to actually order one of those wholesale and pay the shipping to me? It's cheaper to get the free shipping and pay retail. We've done the math. Anyway, Zach from
You're no fun to make fun of.
I'm not getting thrown under the bus. I will edit that out before I get thrown under the bus. Anyway, Zach from Michigan. That was a great question. I already am going to tell you that we're going to get feedback. I probably won't play 99.95% of it or even mention it, but they're going to be like, glass carboy. Oh my God. The big mouth bubbler he's talking about is the, wait, hold on. I got to look at the transcription because I think that is the glass. Maybe he has two glass But the big mouths, I will say, for kombucha, especially if I could. Oh, it's on the other side of the room. I'd show the camera. The big mouth bubbler is the only way to go if you're doing kombucha. And you don't have to. I think Northern actually owns them now, but there's knockoffs you can get if y'all don't want to go that route of supporting Northern. They're not AB InBev anymore, though. And I've always liked the guys that always came to the shows. Todd, remember Todd from Northern? Good guy.
Oh yeah,
Northern.
Guy.
Yeah. I've been.
But I don't even know if Todd's there anymore. I don't know anybody there anymore. It's so. Yeah, it's so weird. Like they don't even have a support line anymore. I tried to get a hold of them a while back, and it was hard to reach somebody. Yeah, let us know, Todd, if you're still there. Otherwise, I'm going to throw Northern under the bus. But anyways, if you're doing kombucha, the big mouth bubblers are fantastic because you're not supposed to do kombucha in plastic. Fermenting in glass is what's always been recommended to me. Stainless steel, I don't know of, but the glass. But if you're in a normal carboy, trying to get something down in there to take your SCOBY out or whatever, it's just a real pain in the butt. The big mouths, man, what an invention. But anyways, that's not what Zach was talking about. Zach was talking about airlock activity and all that. And if you have feedback or comments, questions, concerns about his question and airlock activity and what you do or don't do, leave it in the comments below at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour or call or text 325-305-6107 and potentially get yourself a gift card. Thank you, Zach, for submitting that question. Our fourth and final question is from our buddy Troy from Mississippi. And a final reminder, when you leave a voicemail like Zach, like Troy, and like our first question from Jared, and we play it on a future episode, get yourself a $25 gift card. Call it at 325-305-6107. Here is Troy from Mississippi.
Hey guys, this is Troy in Mississippi again. Got a question for you. Well, who knows, this may actually be a question for Josh, since I am calling about the Kolsch. And, Josh, from what we've all heard, is the Kolsch expert. Anyway, so looking at the recipe, it calls for Hallertau middle fruit hops, which, came with the kit. But if I wanted to brew this on my own without the kit, then I was looking at the Hops Direct website. I don't see the middle fruit hops on there. I see tradition. And, I'm ignorant when it comes to a lot of these different versions of hops. I mean, I know there's several different Hallertau hops, and just want to know if there's a suitable substitute, or, it may not be the exact same, but, for Josh's refined palate on Kolsch, then what would be the substitute? So, other than that, that's all I got. Thanks, guys.
Oh, yeah. A question for me. No, Hallertau middle fruit is what I've always used because that's what my buddy James has always suggested in the recipe. And it's a German noble hops. All I know is it's got to be a German noble hop. Look at that. There we go. He's got the book. James has got the book. I will say, though, of American varieties, and I got this from Yakima maybe a decade ago or 8 years ago on their website, that the best American substitute of Hallertau Mittelfrüh is Mount Hood. And I have brewed my many batches using Mount Hood, specifically when we got rid of homebrew ingredients and sold off homebrewsupply.com. We weren't readily swimming in hops anymore, but we had a crap ton of Mount Hood. And so I was using that all of 2021 and some of 2022, and the Kolsch turned out incredible. I do know, James, a lot of guys use Spalt. A lot of guys use Tradition. I think as long as it is a noble hop, isn't that just going to cover your bases?
No, not really. It's all about how the properties of the hops. Now in here, I've had this for years. We got this at HomebrewCon one year. But it's saying the possible substitutions for Hallertau Mittelfrüh is Liberty, German Tradition or Tradition hops, and Vanguard. So in the past, when I wanted to use it and run out, I would use Tradition, substitute it for Tradition. But I don't know about y'all, but I love Mittelfrüh hop.
Oh yeah, it's so mellow.
It's hard to substitute it.
It's so mellow. It is what, when I think of the Kolsch taste, I wish I knew off the top of my head, or that we could find out what like Fru or Peters use, But yeah, I was trying to find where I found the substitute one, because I thought it was Yakima. Where?
It probably was.
Here we go.
I mean, every one of our hop manufacturers has a substitute list online.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Well, this is from Beer Maverick. Okay. It says Mount Hood. It says Vanguard. I've never heard of Vanguard. And it does say,
I haven't either.
It does say tradition. He is right about, there is a ton of, like that Hallertau Blanc. I know nothing about that. I assume the alpha acids is what would make it not a substitute for middle fruit. Like just because it says Hallertau, like I guess what I'm getting at is to warn people, just because it says Hallertau on the front does not mean it is the Hallertau for German Pilsners, Kolsch, or whatever. Like for a Kolsch, it is specifically middle fruit you're going for. Of the Hallertau.
Yeah, Blanc is not the same hop.
They're just confusing us with Hallertau. I mean, isn't technically Hallertau tradition? Isn't tradition also Hallertau as well? I think
I've always just known it as German tradition. I know that's their bettering hop for Schlussel.
Oh, okay. And that's what you use tradition a lot in your Pilsners, right?
I do, yeah. A German tradition or middle fruit. And then on my alt beer, I use Spalter.
Now, it was last year's Kolsch Cup where the winner used Sterling, which which is going to segue this to Todd down there. You might be, I wouldn't even say you're experimental. You just brew a different variety of beers more than James and I do. But do you look for a list of substitutes? Like if you're if you were going to do a Kolsch, and you're all out of tradition and you're all out of middle fruit upstairs, are you going to look for a list of substitutes, or are you going to just go with what you think might taste good for that batch?
No, I would look up. I would cross-reference them.
Okay. I was going for a juicier answer. Like, I would always use Sterling. I would, I
would always use Sterling.
Oh, thank you. You know what? At our buddy Anna Britt, who placed in the top 10 of Kolsch Cup this year, guess what yeast she used for her batch of Kolsch for this recent Kolsch Cup, guys? I'll let you pull it up.
Here.
No, it's a wild guess. She
didn't use a
Here she wrote me. She said, "I'm pretty pleased with how that Kolsch turned out since it was pressure fermented at 80 with Kveik." And then
that's why I was trying to think of the name.
I knew it was in your brain. I knew it. Yep, she used Kveik at 80 and did a huge Whirlpool edition of Tettninger. She said during the initial judging, Todd was wondering what the hop was, and now you can let him know. It was Tettninger, which is also a German noble hop. And Tettninger, I believe, is the most go-to substitute for Spalt, because when we did the alt beer, or maybe it's not Spalt. What was it a substitute for? I think it was Spalt, either Spalt or tradition. But either way, another German noble. But you're right, James. You're right. I can't just blanketly say, as long as it's a German noble. You really should cross-reference this stuff. The book James has is, I don't know if these things, they only have to update when new hops are introduced, as they do frequently get introduced. But you could always go online. I bet you, since we already give a shout out to BYO, Brew Your Own Magazine, I bet they have a pretty extensive database. Brewersfriend.com, if you're already using the app, I believe has a very extensive database. That could be something we work on, Todd. I bet you I could utilize our ChatGPT license to get a good list of hops made and their substitutes. That seems like something my AI assistant would love to do. I'll look into it. But anyway, I think not to take the shortcut answer and try to, I could pretend to be an encyclopedia, Troy.
Oh, we haven't taken the shortcut answer. Don't worry.
You shut up.
Have we ever done that?
You shut your mouth. I could pretend to be an encyclopedia for you, but the reality is I literally Google, if I go upstairs for where all the ingredients are and I don't have what I absolutely intended, I just get on the Google machine and go, what is a substitute for? And I've done that with malt. I do that all the time with hops, and I've done it with yeast. And sometimes we just can't get this stuff, right? Like our friends at hopsdirect.com will do their best to get us the hops we request, but there are some times where they go, I can't get you that, but I can get you this. And then we just update the recipe that's going out that month so people know, hey, it's not this, it's this. And that way everyone's numbers are accurate and this or that. But they're always been spot on. We have not, since having Muntons Hopsterette and Imperial. I've not had a single complaint. And that's an invitation. If you're in the Chub Club, patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, and you do have a complaint, you've just been quiet, text me 325-305-6107. I might play it on a future episode because I challenge y'all that these recipes have been so solid with all the ingredients we've been sending out. And my main point just being, don't be afraid to substitute when you have to. But in the same breath, middle brew is the best. You should keep using that for your Kolsch if you can. Go buy the Kolsch book too. It's a great hop. And do you have the alt book? Do you have the Kolsch book too, James?
Yeah.
I think you did. There are tons of good recipes in there, and I bet you they have, tradition on some of them. They've got to have middle brew on them. Oh yeah. Oh, that's the alt book. Do you have the Kolsch book too?
Oh no, I was thinking.
No, you're good. Yeah,
my brain heard alt beer.
I have the Kolsch book as well, which is not Horst. Horst did the alt book, and I think he did the Hellas book. But I frequently will look in that book just to make sure, like, if I'm going to change anything, maybe get some inspiration, this or that. But I've become a creature of habit, and I found a recipe I really like, and I never change it at all. And I brew it. I don't
know if y'all can see that, but there's the vat that is open. See, it's a big stainless steel.
Look at that.
And it just looks like whipped cream on top.
And that's Schlussel, or that's just how they all do it in Dusseldorf?
That's how Schlussel does it.
Wow. That's cool. That's ballsy.
Yep.
That's cool. And it's worked for them for many years. So obviously something's working. Anyways, Troy, thank you so much for submitting that question. Gentlemen, that is all I have for this week. I greatly appreciate y'all's time. Todd, I appreciate that you're going to let my kids run rampant at the ranch coming up. And right before you leave
I'm looking
town.
forward to it. My wife, of course, is looking forward to it. And I am too. I haven't seen your girls in a long time. So I'm trying to get my brother. I haven't gotten a confirmation from him yet, but I'm trying to get my brother to bring me some of the little peppers they use in Chicago dogs.
Okay.
They're called sports peppers. And I found the only place I could find them was Central Market, but I brought the hot dogs back and on ice. So it's so weird. You can go through the airport with hot dogs on ice, but you can't carry water through. So as long as it's frozen ice, you're okay.
Did they x-ray?
So anyway, I brought 24 of the Chicago Vienna hot dogs back. So I'm excited.
24
Chicago dogs.
What's everyone else
get those on Amazon?
I say,
can you?
Hey. It's actually they're 8 packs. Now.
The peppers,
they're expensive though, right?
$24.99, authentic Chicago sport peppers from.
Oh yeah, I saw that. But my brother's, I'm so cheap. My brother's going to get them. Like it's at the really fancy grocery store in Austin, but it's still less than $8. So.
Is he? It's you've been to Central Market before. It's just HEB bougie.
Yeah,
that's all
fancy
it is.
HEB.
Fancy
it's
HEB.
Nice though.
It is nice. It's very nice, but it is very bougie. Anyways, I'm looking forward to it too, guys. I'll see y'all next week. I appreciate your time.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Yeah. Later, and that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you could go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or even better, call it in, leave a voicemail, 325-305-6107, and maybe, just maybe, get yourself a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com. Thank you to our show sponsors like Muntins Malt, premium grains for a better brew day. If you aren't already brewing with Muntins, give them a try by joining our Trub Club at a recipe receiving level. For the best hops available online, give our friends at hopsdirect.com a visit and pick up what you need for your next brew day. Also, get a pack of Imperial yeast along with premium recipes from us when you join the Trub Club. Go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour and come brew with us. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thanks for listening.